This conference will now be recorded.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this afternoon's webinar, How to Achieve Data Management Success for your H-1B Closing the Skills Gap Grant Project. My name is Susan Harden with AGS, and I'm going to be your presenter today. So thank you, everybody, for being here. A little bit of housekeeping. If you're here on your telephones, please don't put us on hold. We don't hear your hold music. Feel free to unmute yourselves if you have questions throughout, or use the chat feature. We have folks monitoring chat. So thank you very much for being here. Let's go ahead and get started. So again, thanks so much for spending just a few minutes with me this afternoon. I know you all have very busy schedules. This is grant writing season and end of quarters and WIPs reporting cycles and all kinds of busy things for all of you. So I appreciate your time, I really do. Getting started with these grants is indeed a journey. And I know that you are all embarked at some point along that process and that path. I'd like to share with you, first of all, just a little bit of background about AGS. So we've been doing this now for about 23 years. So we are not new to the Department of Labor ETA grants. We are not new to H-1B grants. We have been supporting literally hundreds of community colleges and grant projects around the country for years, really focusing as H-1B subject matter experts. We have supported grants, H-1B grants from Tech Hire and Strengthening Working Families Initiative, or SWIFI, and the America's Promise Grant. We're supporting many scaling apprenticeship projects, closing the skills gap projects, one workforce projects, and rural healthcare projects. So we are very much experienced in this process and appreciate the complexity of the journey and of the plan that is required for you to meet the goals that you put into your proposals. They're hefty, some more than others, and it's a process. We know these grants are complex, and so one of the things that we do along the way is to provide an architecture that is a pre-built template that is compliant for H-1B data collection and reporting. And we keep the templates up to date as the feds make changes, which we know they do on a pretty regular basis. And sometimes those changes are a little bit sticky. Our job is to keep all of that off your critical path and make it easy for you to be successful. So we're going to help you, create the data in your system, collect it, provide the architectural support for that process for you to collect the data that's required through a self-registration process for your participants, should you want to use that module, all the way through to your employers and your participants exiting the programs successfully with all the data managed in between for you to then be able to run reports. Most importantly, of course, your WIPs report on a quarterly basis, your H-1B real-time performance outcome measures report, which is required reporting for some of the newer grants. We always encourage our customers to include that as one of their augment reports to their quarterly narrative reports, the QNRs, as well as lots of other project management reports. As project managers ourselves, we know how important it is for you to be able to examine your data, stay on top of your data, make sure that your partners and your providers are putting data in a timely fashion, all of those steps in order for you to not only achieve your success, tell your story of success, and use this very good data, this yummy data that shows the level of effort and success for you to use for new proposals, for new grants and new projects. So let me go ahead and take you to the demo. I want to make sure that we have plenty of time to get through the demo and some wrap-up slides and any time for questions and answers. So let's go right into the demo. Let me go over here to my demo site. Okay, here we are. So I'm going to go ahead and log in. This is one of my demo sites for H1B. I'm going to sign in to AGS Prime. AGS Prime is, by the way, a completely web-based platform as a service, a PaaS. And this is a no-code platform, so that in addition to subscribing to this pre-built H1B Closing the Skills Gap application, we also train you to be able to build as many additional applications in the platform that you might like to. Now that's a real return on investment. Let me go ahead and log in. So one of the things that you're seeing here is that I have logged into my application as a domain administrator, and I have lots of different applications that have already been built in my domain. We're going to start out looking at just this application. I'm going to go ahead and launch this. So this is what our pre-built Closing the Skills Gap H1B application looks like. So we've got our logo. You're going to have your logo and your text here on this welcome page. That's just here for demo purposes, of course. And we have our menu across the top. We call these modules. From the home module, we're seeing this welcome page and a resources catalog that allows you to put all kinds of resources that you might want to put there for your partners, definitions of what a measurable skills gap might be, MOUs, workflow diagrams. We have lots of playlists and YouTube links here for our customers that we provide for you as part of your support. Participant management is the module where all of your participant data resides, that case management workflow, that's all tracked here. Your employer management module, which is a real CRM or a sales tracking, employer outreach sort of integrated module that's here for your employers to be able to utilize as their own portal, or for you to be able to utilize on their behalf as you're doing sales calls and gathering job openings or work experience openings, or whatever the case might be, and be able to really have this integrated environment for both your program participants as well as your employer partners. Of course, the admin module is where all of the application configuration control occurs. We train you how to configure out certain aspects of the template that are configurable, that won't configure yourself out of compliance, but helps you as a project put some personal touches, keywords, ONET codes, skills and whatnot into the application that are specific to your project, different from all of our other customers' projects, to give you that personal configurable touch. Of course, reports. Why people really buy this tool, because we provide not only provide the WIPS report, your outcome measures report, and a sample QPR and other reports, but we give you the ability to run these reports whenever you want to help you really stay on top of your data. And we keep everything up to date, as I said before, as the feds make changes to these systems, we make changes to the business rules and the business logic on the data input side, as well as, of course, updating your WIPS file so it's always in compliance with what the feds are expecting. And of course, we have a self-registration module that allows our customers if they want to leverage potential self-registrants to sort of pre-populate the data and sort of put that on the potential participants and sort of take that off, some of that data collection off the shoulders of some of your staff. So that's just kind of a quick overview. I'd like to actually start with admin. With reports. So one of the things that you're seeing here is I have logged in as an administrator. You saw me log in and I saw all of those other applications, those cards, as we call them, right? And this is just one of the applications. And I've logged in to that application, and I'm an administrator in this application. So I see all of the modules across the top, including the admin module. and the reports module. You are going to have staff users who log in, maybe partners, or maybe just limited use type of users who will log in with very different security credentials assigned to them. And they will log in and see a very different user interface. I am going to show you what that looks like before we leave today. I'm going to log off from here, log back in as a limited use user, and you can see the very different user interface. That security control is under your control. The template has some predefined user roles, but you can decide who is in which user role or roles. And if you have new user roles or processes that come up, we can always add additional user roles or security groups to the system. So it gives you a lot of flexibility and, most importantly, control, okay? So in reports, as I said, let's start here. Let me just show you what this WIPS file looks like. So just so you can see, I mean, this is really the heavy lift that helps people, get through these grants. So we have a parameter that pops up. I'm going to select my H-1B grant for my grant funding source. I'll just answer these parameters. I'm going to say 2022, and I'll say Q1. For the purposes of demo today, I'm going to say yes, include a header. In real life, as you all know by now, when you submit a WIPS file to the feds, you never include headers, or that will produce, hundreds, if not thousands, of errors depending upon the number of records you're submitting. So, but for today, I'm going to say yes because I want you to be able to see those headers in this file. I'm going to say yes, ignore my error file. So yes, as you can see, we have a data validation report that's built in. So even though we have built-in logic into the fields and on the forms for data entry, we also give you a final edit check here at the very end before you ever submit data to the feds to make sure that you are satisfied that your report is accurate. For demo, to save time, I'm going to say yes, go ahead and ignore that field. Don't add any additional fields. And I want to run this for all staff organizations. So I'm just going to go ahead and run this. It'll take just a moment for this to load here. Just kind of go through the processing, and there's my file. And go ahead and open this up. And here's my file. So for those of you who have been running WIPS reports, you know this is what it looks like. It's got all kinds of fields in it. Just kind of scroll over, and again, so you can see my headers, just to kind of get an idea of, yes, we have all of the data elements here. Just kind of scrolling through SSN, of course, Excel and its infinite wisdom changes everything to scientific notation, which is why you never open and save in Excel your WIPS file, right? We all know that by now, right? So I'm just going to go ahead and cancel that. So I just wanted to run that report for you so you can see that we actually have the WIPS file. One of our other most popular reports is this real-time performance outcome measures report. So one of the things that we let you do, we give you the ability to do, I should say, in Prime, is to load in all of the goals that you put into your appendix in your proposal, load those goals per year, and then this report will compare what you said in your goals to your actuals and let you know where you are based on your projected to actual and percent to goal. For each one of the goals, through sections A and sections B, they're expanded apprenticeship programs looking at the employers and the programs per year, as you can see, and in the aggregate. One of the things we also provide for you, if you see here on this additional worksheet, is if you included in your proposal that you were going to be focused on any special populations, the goals report will also allow you to keep track of where you are against those special populations that you said you were going to be focusing on. It's a very popular feature in this application to really help our customers know where they are compared to where they, think they are, where they're supposed to be at any given point in time. The newer H-1B grants, One Workforce in Rural Healthcare, in fact, the feds require this report as one of their narrative augment reports. So we have always included this report for all of these projects over the years. And we strongly encourage our customers to utilize it, whether or not you want to submit it to the feds based on how your numbers look or not, that's up to you. But if I would encourage you to always look at this kind of a report for your own project management purposes. A couple of other real quick reports. We do give you the ability to run your QPR. This is not intended in any way, shape, or form to replace that which the feds send back to you after you validated your WIPS upload. But this is the kind of report that you can see and get a picture of your QPR before the feds send theirs back to you. So you're never surprised. You'll always know what your QPR is going to look like, right? Project Management 101, eliminate surprises, right? So we give you the ability to keep on top of your QPR. And of course, in an ideal world, our QPR matches the QPR you get back from the feds, right? Which it does. So here's the QPR report itself. We also include right here a worksheet that includes, how we're calculating each one of those report items, and we are doing it exactly based on the WIPS aggregation rules. We always put that here at your fingertips as just a quick reminder of, how are we calculating this stuff? How are the feds calculating this stuff? We just put it right here for you, make it nice and easy. For my business analysts on the call, you will love the Codebook. This gives you the ability to always be able to look at reports and know exactly how Prime is handling any particular field in the application. You can run everything down by section, by data element number. Everybody loves field 1813, right? Be able to get to the field. We take the data directly from the Pearl, put that here in sort of much easier readable and digestible information, and then compare that to where does that reside in Prime, including all of our error checking, data validation, everything. We put everything here for you as data analysts to be able to examine Prime. So that's just a little bit about reports. For queries, we give you dozens of predefined queries. It's your data. We give you the ability to download all of your data all of the time. We've built some queries for each one of the data sets, as well as some very popular joins. We have also included for all of our customers the new Mathematica analysis report that we are seeing more and more of our customers being asked, required to submit to the feds on behalf of the Mathematica project that's going on. So we've also provided that to our customers. You are also trained to build your own reports and your own queries. So we have a great list here. I'm certain that we don't have everything that everybody's going to want. So we train you how to build your own reports and your own queries. It's very simple. Again, everything in Prime is no code. Everything is graphical and visual and drag and drop. Now let's take a scoot back to what the forms look like. I'm going to kind of jog through this fairly quickly so you can get an idea of what this looks like. I'm going to click on participant management and I'll open up the profile for Alexia Abrams. I'll open up her case folder, rather, excuse me. We can see in her electronic case folder all of these different documents categorized by document type, right? Credentials and her measurable skills gain, and case notes, of course, and attachments, the services that we're providing, case management and supportive, the program she's enrolled in, and we start with her demographics. This should look very familiar to all of you. We show every field that's set as required with an asterisk, and if that's been not filled in, it's pink, so we can always see what's required, and the save button is now no longer live. just sort of driving home that business process requirement of filling in all the fields that are required for WIPS reporting, right? And they've got to be filled in with the correct data. So here's the start of all data collection, this demographic profile information. And then we're going to keep track of programs. What program are they enrolled in? Funded by which grant? And again, for all of you who are familiar with these projects, these fields should look very familiar to you. It's really in this program form where we really begin to see some of the devil in the details for business logic and entering valid data. So you're not chasing down incorrect data at the end of your WIPS reporting cycle. That is a major waste of time. Let computers do what they're supposed to do. So in a graceful way, we have on-field and on-form error checking, so that as we just kind of go ahead and really screw up these fields, you can see that we have lots of errors with lots of help text as to how to resolve the error. Again, the save button is now no longer live because we have errors on the form. We're going to really drive your end users through clean data entry so that your end users don't have to have these hundreds and hundreds of business rules memorized. It's just impossible. We do that for you, and we keep the forms up to date with business rules. I'm just going to cancel out of this for a moment. And we're going to keep track of services and all of the services we're providing categorized, so it's easy for you to keep track of this information in, again, a click. You're not having people type things in. Services can be tied to an employer. Should you want to, this is pulling from my employer list over here, my CRM. So you, again, can really have that crosswalking for your own reportability purposes. Very popular, not a WIPS requirement, but very popular. Our customers keep track of their supportive unit costs. So they can run their own analytics for how much they're investing in their participants for certain different types of services. Very, very popular for their, for your own analytics. So that's just a little kind of a quick run through of some of the forms here, sort of what these forms look like. The employer management architecture is very similar, where we're going to open up a case folder. We're going to see an employer's profile, some high-level demographics. Here's where we are keeping track of the date on which the employer commits to being engaged in the apprenticeship for your B1 or your B3 on your performance outcome measures. So we're going to help you keep track of all of that right here. And then we can keep track of our all of our employer contacts, their employer activities, work experiences, job openings, and job fulfillments by participant name. So depending on which side of the house we're on, so to speak, we can see job openings and we can see placements. Very, very helpful in terms of analytics and support throughout your entire process. I would like to just give you a quick look at what self-registration can look like. I'm just going to open this up so you can get a sense of what self-reg can look like. It's just going to be a link perhaps included in one of your partner's web pages. Could be, this form could be embedded in an iframe, depending upon your approach. Either way is good. We see lots of times our customers have consent language, consent signatures, signature blocks. They require their self-registrants to attach one or more documents as part of the self-reg process. So this is just an example in my demo system. Very, very heavily used. Most of our customers do leverage self-registration, and then this self-registration data pre-feeds, if I can use that term, your participant profile, but they sit here as not yet reviewed participants. So they'll fill all this in, but it won't have all the data filled in. So a staff person will actually have to go in here and select the staff person, staff organization, and say, yes, I reviewed this. This isn't Mickey Mouse or Donald Duck, and blah, blah, blah. So we can go ahead and really move them from not yet reviewed to reviewed. So that's kind of a quick overview of self-reg, the employer management module, the participant module as a staff person, managing a person through the process, and most importantly, reports, giving you a real sense of what our reporting and analytics looks like. So as promised, I'm going to really quickly here, for the purposes of time, I'm going to go ahead and log off, and I'm going to sign back in as S. Harden staff. Now, for the sake of time, I just saved my user ID and password here. And I'm going to log in as a staff person who has very different access rights, both to the platform and to the Closing the Skills Gap application. And I want you to see the configuration control and security controls that our customers have in Prime. I'm going to go ahead and sign in. You can see as an end user, I don't see any of the other applications. Those are all completely hidden from me. But I do have access to the H-1B application. So I'll launch this. And guess what? When I launch this, I am completely limited to only, in this case, the home module, for which I can see all of the resources. But I can only see the participant management module. I don't see employer, I don't see admin, I don't see reports, I don't see anything else. And when I click on participant management module, one of the other attributes that we include in the architecture, because we work with single state, multi-organization consortiums and multi-state, multi-organization, obviously, consortiums all over the country. So this organization level security concept is crucial to the architecture. As a staff person belonging to, assigned to, if you will, staff organization 1, as you see here, I'm only seeing participants for my organization. Perhaps others of my colleagues from staff organization 1 have entered things here, but only staff organization 1 data. When I was logged in as an administrator, I saw all of the participant data from all of my partner organizations. I can't be locked out. I always see all data. So your security credentials provide multiple levels of security, both to the domain, to the application capabilities, and to the data. It's very, very important for all of the reasons that you all know for PII, for this data to be controlled. So that's, I just wanted to illustrate that to you in this very sort of quick way. With that and with time, I'm going to jump back over to my presentation and just do a quick review and a quick wrap up. So hopefully you had a chance to see, some of the implementation of security and what that looks like, what it looks like when you log in with different types of security controls. We provide an onboarding process to all of our new customers, provides application training that I actually do for new H-1B customers. And we also do training for the platform itself. We'll walk you through all of the configuration control aspects of the application. I will help you with your end user training as well to make sure that all goes smoothly, of course. And then you may also have some existing data. We can help you get that existing data, taking your most recent validated WIPS file. There'll be a little bit of additional information we're going to need. We'll share with you that import process and the additional fields, and we can get your existing data imported into the system. For those of you who are curious about that, get a hold of me later and I can walk you through that process. That's a little bit outside the scope of today's demo, but certainly something that I'm happy to talk about. Maybe we'll do a webinar about that soon. We'll see. Hopefully you were able to see a little bit, sort of a quick jog through of participant self-reg and the employer CRM modules and kind of what those forms look like in the on-field business logic and the on-form firing of business rules on all of that information, and how self-reg feeds the participant module to save time on data entry. Wanted to run a quick, a handful of reports. I know we didn't get to everything, but hopefully I gave you a sense of our analytics and the capabilities that we have in the application for some of these key reports, WIPs, and quarterly performance reporting. And with all of that said, with that in your hands, with that architecture and us taking care of the updates and changes from the feds, hopefully that gives you an ability to, not be chasing data, but be analyzing where you are in your processes, how well you're doing, where can you do better, what things do you not need to keep doing anymore, right? And meet your skills gap goals. Meet the goals that you put out for your project. And again, use this yummy data for writing more proposals and more grants, and really growing the opportunity that is so important that you are as part of the economic development wheel in your area. And we're here to really kind of help with that. Does anybody have any last minute questions here in the final minutes remaining? So looking over here, my other monitor at chat. Yes, one quick question was, how long does it usually take to get going? So that's a great question. Because I do the training, the launch and ramp for all of these and onboarding for these projects, it's pretty straightforward. I do typically two 2-hour application administration training sessions. The first one, I will take you through all of the configuration capabilities of the application, get everybody level set. Typically at this point, there's folks around the table who are your administrators, who you're going to charge with making changes to the application or adding users or changing keywords and that sort of thing, who haven't been involved deeply in the process up to this point. So we get everybody on the same page. I give you some homework. You'll go off and do your homework and the rest of your jobs, and maybe a few days later or a week later, kind of tops, while it's still fresh, we'll come back and do a second session, review your questions, review your homework, make sure everybody's feeling confident about the control that you have, and then we'll talk about onboarding your end user population, your partner organizations, however many you have, and we'll talk through some strategies and best practices for how to be doing that. And you'll be thinking about that, of course, right away anyway, so that's not going to be new. And then we'll be ready to train end users. So a couple of weeks typically is how long it takes to kind of get going, to go from contract, a one-page contract signature, to getting your administration training done. If you have data to be imported, that might be another few days, but it's not rocket science. Get your data imported, get your end users trained, and you're up and running. So that's pretty much the process. Thank you for that question. Anything else from anybody? Okay, well, I will take that silence as a no, and say thank you again, everybody. I really appreciate your time today. And here's my contact information. You probably already have it, but go ahead and jot this down or shoot me an email or give me a call. If you'd like to get together, have more questions, bring a small group together, whatever the case might be, please let me know how we can help. That's my job, is education. So I hope to hear from you soon. Thank you all very, very much. Take care. Bye-bye.